Thank you so much for being here. My name is Christy Campbell. I am the president of the DFW Veterans Chamber. My information is in the chat room. And if you need a website or graphic design or social media marketing, please reach out to me. Other than that, Chris?
Good morning, Chamber. My name is Chris Smith. I am a financial advisor with Edward Jones and also a 22-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force, retired as a senior master sergeant a couple of years ago. And it is my distinct honor today to be able to present Paul Hendricks, who is the president and director of the Veterans Center of North Texas. Paul has had a very distinguished career. Started in the Air Force as a B-52 pilot over Vietnam, and very interesting career. He actually retired from corporate America, working in the defense industry for Boeing in 2011, and I really think that that's where his busy season of life really took off, because it looks like he really got busy after that. He is very active in his community as a councilman on many chambers of commerce, and not just participating, but leading in those areas. Paul has lives in Fairview with his wife of 45 years. They have 2 adult children and grandchildren, and I'm sure he has plenty to tell us about the Veterans Center of North Texas. Without further ado, I'll pass it to Paul.
Oh, well, Chris, thank you. I need to hire you. That's a wonderful introduction. Make me feel good. So good morning, Chamber. It's indeed an honor to be with you. And as I mentioned earlier, I feel more comfortable, and I'm looking forward to meeting many of you face to face as COVID continues to release. So I've got a presentation I'm going to show you here. If I can share the screen, would that be okay? Okay. Let's see. Here we go. So again, I'm Paul Hendricks, the Veterans Center of North Texas, and as Chris said, I'm the president and executive director of this organization. We're located in Plano. We serve 10 counties in North Texas, and I'm hoping by the end of this presentation, you'll know more about what we do. We're not an exclusive organization. We pride ourselves in collaborating and connecting with as many organizations as we possibly can, and each and every one of you are good opportunities for us to collaborate. So I thought that I would spend a couple minutes here talking about my background. Oftentimes, I forget what I've done historically, because I retired from the Air Force 31 years ago, and a lot of time has passed, as Chris was saying. So just a little bit about me. My wife and I are both from Southern California. I went to San Diego State College at the time. I also got a master's degree from the Air Force Institute of Technology. I was in the Air Force. I worked for initially Rockwell, who was bought by Boeing, and I retired in 2011 and found my way into the volunteer community. And if I had one business card, I would say professional volunteer, and which I really enjoy doing. So what did I do in the Air Force? Well, actually 20 years goes by in a hurry. If those of you that have been in the military probably realize how quick it goes by, but my first assignment was flying B-52s. I had no intention to be in the Air Force, no intention to do anything I did, but somehow I got pointed in that direction, and that's the way it went. So I flew B-52Ds, which is, there are no active flying B-52Ds. They're mostly beer cans today, probably someplace. But big old airplane, good workhorse, and we wore them out in Vietnam. And of course, the B-52H is still around and flying and do a lot of great work for the Air Force. Well, I was assigned B-52s. My first assignment was at Westover Air Force Base, which is now a joint base in Massachusetts. I was deployed immediately to Guam and Utapao, Thailand. And I was involved at just the very end of Vietnam. I was involved in a thing called Linebacker 2, where we did a lot of bombing in North Vietnam, and I got to learn what it's like to squirm in the seat a little bit. And so I had several missions over North Vietnam, and that was interesting. I moved to Carswell Air Force Base, which is now a Joint Reserve Base, and went back to Thailand and did a few things there, and then off to other adventures in my Air Force career. I actually went into a non-flying mode for a while, but at the end of my career, I got involved with the B-1B bomber. I was on the development team at Edwards Air Force Base. After President Reagan reinstated the program, it was canceled for a while and came back. And that was the same time that the B-2 bomber was being developed. So there was a lot of controversy on is it the B-1 or the B-2? Turns out they both had big missions, and the B-1 bomber is just about worn out. They have flown the pants off that airplane, not doing its job as delivering nuclear weapons, but being an air traffic management battle manager, as well as dropping lots and lots of weapons in the Iraq, Afghanistan area. So I was at Edwards Air Force Base in California, and then actually retired out of Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. Great place to live, by the way. So that's 20 years in a nutshell. It goes by in a hurry, and you know, looking back at it, I probably would have stayed in the Air Force. It was just a great career, and those of you who've been in the military might have similar experiences. But now that I'm in retirement, I'd like to discuss the Veterans Center of North Texas and tell you who we are, what we're doing, why we do it, and what help I can request from you all. So the Veterans Center of North Texas was founded as a nonprofit organization in June of 2014. So we're just about 7 years old, and I'm the founder. Through some circumstances of that point in time when Desert Storm was wrapping up and veterans needed a lot of support, that's how we got founded. We're a nonprofit organization. We're an information, referral, and crisis intervention center. And what that means is we provide information to veterans of all sorts. Refer them to the over 170 organizations in the community that we're partnered with, and we provide hands-on assistance for our veterans. So we feel pretty proud of the fact that we serve over 1,000 veterans a year. We are 100% managed by volunteers. And oftentimes people always say, how do you operate? We are grant and donation funded. And we've been very fortunate in that regard that we've been able to receive some grants and keep us going here. As a matter of fact, one of our major grants is the Texas Veterans Commission that some of you all are probably funded by also. It's one of the 15 grants that we have. And we're going through an audit with them, started yesterday and will continue through to today. We also do 2 fundraising events a year, because we have to pay for the facility we're in. We rent from Collin County, and we do a golf tournament that was supposed to be last Friday, and we got rained out, and it'll be on the 18th of June now. So there's still plenty of opportunity to participate and enjoy that opportunity. It's really a community integration event, and just so happens we make some funds on that, which is good. That helps us pay our rent. We also are supported by North Texas Giving Day. Our mission is pretty simple. We support and assist veterans and their families from all services, all ages, and all discharge types with a single goal to help them become sustainable and productive in our communities. And we're quite proud of the fact that our service model we think is unique. We are not an organization that is a kind of a one and done where we hand out money or pat people on the back and say, go forth and conquer. What we do is we understand veteran needs, and everybody that visits us has a need of some sort. And if it's something substantial, we dig into the root cause to try to understand what's causing that need. And we actually put our energy, time, and resources on addressing the root cause, because we do not want that those needs to continue to be a problem. So there are some people that don't like that. They'll come in and say, hey, I need rent assistance. And we try to understand why they need it. And, you know, they're not interested in talking. They're just looking for a couple $100 to get going. And we'll say, well, we don't do that. So we'll have to send you someplace else. We are very focused on understanding why needs exist. How can we correct those, and how can we help mainstream our veterans in our community? We've been very successful. We have an 86% success rate in working with our veterans and helping them maintain stability. So what do we do? Shown on this slide here. Again, we're information, referral, and crisis intervention. And I want to focus on the crisis intervention, if you will, which is our direct hands-on support. First off, we had no idea we were ever going to be social workers, but indeed we are social workers. And we got to be careful that we don't overstep our bounds, because we're not licensed to do social work, but we are funded to point people in the right direction and provide the right assistance. I'm going to start at the bottom on my pyramid of need. Since we have been doing this program, we serve well over 5,000 veterans out of our little office here in Plano. The top of the pyramid is shelter and housing. We see a lot of unsheltered veterans, and when we see that, it's all hands on deck. We want to get that, if the veteran is interested, get them off the street, get them into a hotel for a while we're understanding why they're in that situation. Then unfortunately, if they if it's not a quick fix, a public shelter may be the next step, and then a VASH voucher perhaps, or a job, or some way to get them in a stable environment. Now, for those of us that have never been homeless or in that situation, you might say, why is that such a big deal? Why don't people just get a house? When you get in this situation, it becomes kind of a mental situation. Just think, each and every one of us that go on a vacation someplace, what's the first thing you think of when you get off that airplane? Where am I going to sleep tonight, right? These folks that are in this situation are worried about that every single day. Where am I going to sleep? Sleeping in a car is miserable. Sleeping under a tree is miserable. And pretty soon your mind does strange things to you. So we try to work on that and try to get them off the street, get them cleaned and ready to go. Immediate needs, the next area that we see that are a real problem. Folks can't pay their water bills. They can't make their car payments, their rent payments, house payments. Again, we will help them do that if we can spend the time with them and help them understand why they're doing it and what it's going to take to fix that. Our idea of fixing them is the veteran is part of the solution. They're going to help us make that decision so we can create a stable life for them. All of our veterans receive all of our veterans that have financial issues receive financial management training. We have a professional financial counselor that talks with them, helps them understand their expenses, their income, and how to balance it, how to get them stable. And Chris, I see you shaking your head because I know you do these types of things also, and many of you others do. But there's a good lot of people that do not realize how much income they really have, and they really don't realize how much money they're spending. We start out here locally building a spreadsheet with them, and they're astonished that they're spending more than they're making and not spending what they actually make. And so that's the beginning of it. Then we turn them over to a professional counselor. Part of the situation that we see is unemployment or underemployment. Unemployment, of course, has been a problem here during the COVID period. I think that's starting to go away. We see a lot of people that have taken, excuse me, allergies are a problem with me today. We see a lot of people that are just underemployed. They've taken $10 an hour jobs, $15 an hour jobs. And in North Texas, the living wage is $27.50 an hour. That's for a family of four, and that's just making it. So we try to encourage people to at least get the family unit up to that level so they can sustain and then go forward. Sometimes education and training and certification and licensing are issues that we need to help them with. But there's another thing. Many of our veterans have lost the self-confidence to take that big step forward to get the job they can really do and not just the easy job to catch. So we do a lot of work to try to build their confidence. In the upper area there shows the areas that we really focus on: housing, transportation, finance, legal, and so on. One of the areas I want to point out that may not be obvious is a program we call Valor. The Valor program is a program that we support here in Collin County. When a prisoner is released from jail, we take charge of that prisoner. We'll provide bus transportation, clothing, food, and connection support wherever they are, wherever they're going in Texas, and help them get reconnected. Now, they're all on probation, so they're all going to have a legal commitment, and we get them connected with the community so they can try to stabilize and go forward and be productive. There's a lot of people that make mistakes, a lot of people that go to jail, and we don't want to make that the end of their life. We want to make that just a corner and go forward. So the other areas there are pretty self-explanatory, and I'd be glad when we have more time to talk about each and every one that we do. Now, my last slide is shown here. It's the last slide I show in all my presentations. So hopefully you know a little bit more about me. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the Veterans Center of North Texas. And I hope you all understand that I'd like to meet with you face to face. I would like you to send us veterans to serve, and we would like to refer our veterans to you for your businesses. So my first bullet is we are here to serve veterans and their families only. So if you are a veteran or if you know a veteran, you don't have to have a problem. We'd like to talk with you. We are fantastic at listening. We're fantastic at telling war stories. Some of them are true and some of them are exciting. We also work on a volunteer basis. Our volunteers work 4 hours a day. If you'd like to volunteer, it's probably one of the best things you can ever do in your life. We'd love to talk with you. For those of you that are in social work, helping another human being is probably the most rewarding thing you can do. And so if you'd like to volunteer with us, we'd like to have you for 6 months, 4 hours a week. That's a half a shift a day. We just love to have you. And then the third thing is community partners. We want to partner with you. Some of you would give good service, and I know you would. And if you refer veterans back and forth to us, that's how we operate. So my name is Paul Hendricks. I'm with the Veterans Center of North Texas. We're located in Plano, and I would be happy to address your questions. And again, I have no product to sell. I'm sorry. Questions for me?
Thank you so much, Paul.
So Paul, I do have a quick question. You say that a lot of what you do is kind of referring people out to these other organizations. So, if someone comes in, because one of the things that I tell people about your organization of veterans that I meet is, I send people there when I don't know where else to send them. So, how do you work when you intake a veteran, and are you trying to figure out what the proper helping organization is? Is that kind of how it works?
So every veteran that we see, whether it's going to be a hands-on or it's going to be referral, of course we don't know till we do an intake. We do a detailed intake, capture all of their information, try to understand what their needs are. And when I say we refer people, there's a lot of grant-funded organizations in the community. We would like to refer somebody to an organization that is grant-funded to meet their needs if possible. Now, let me be real. So that's what we do. We'll document, we'll refer, and let's say, Chris, I needed to refer someone to your organization. I would call you, we would set up a meeting, I would give you the name of the person, and we would set up a hard appointment for them to come visit you. So we don't let go of their hand just because we're referring them. That, to me, is a mistake. We will follow that veteran to you. We will get your feedback. You will get their feedback and continue to maintain a relationship with the veteran. And that's typically goes on for 6 months. One thing I want to emphasize, we have been very fortunate in our grant process. We have nearly $200,000 a year that we redistribute to our veterans annually. So in addition to referring, we do a huge amount of financial assistance to our community. One of the beauties that we have is I make the decisions. So some organizations will say it's going to take a week or 2 weeks. Here, if we're going to provide support and everything lines up, all the documentation is there, the next day, a check will be going to the apartment manager, to the utility company, or wherever it needs to go. We never give money to the veteran. We always paying it to somebody else. So we can cut the, and short circuit that. We may do that initially while we're getting longer term referral support to another organization. A lot of times it's back to the VA, back to another longer term support group. But we can provide that hands-on work. And again, we don't let it go of the hands. We are with their hand until they are stabilized in their community.
I have a question for Mr. Paul. This is Stan Victor, Mr. Paul. Certainly, we look forward to actually following up with you to meet a greater appreciation of the services that you provide. Do you basically network with your counties as far as the ERAP program is concerned, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program? And two, what is your service area? I think I have a pretty good idea what it is, but what could you just kind of confirm what your service area is as far as what area, what veterans you basically, who are the community of veterans that you serve?
Absolutely. So that's a great question, Stanley. We formerly serviced 10 counties in North Texas, far south through Dallas, far west over through Tarrant County, north up to the Red River, Denton County is included, and then over far east over to Kaufman County. So that's our 10 areas, about 300,000 veterans in that area. We have served veterans all over the country. Somehow they find us, and somehow we are able to help them. As far as we do a heavy coordination with veteran service officers. In fact, 2 doors down from us is the Collin County Veteran Service Officer. And Stan, I'm looking forward to the meeting with you and your crew. We used to deal with your office, and Zach moved, and we've lost contact with you all. As far as the other assistance programs, yes, we deal with them. The beauty of it is if someone's getting evicted, we can stop that eviction now, right now. And then we'll go to that assistance group and try to get a longer term solution. But when someone comes in with a court order to move out, we've been very successful in stopping evictions, getting utilities turned on. And that has to be instantaneous. Otherwise, if you wait a week or so, it's too late.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Paul, just a curiosity question. What percentage of those who come to you fell on hard times due to drug addiction?
Well, that's a great question. Sometimes it's hard to get that information out of them. We've had, I'm going to say in about 5% in that area. What really bothers me when someone visits us, and it's pretty easy to tell, they're spaced out and so on. And you just want to give them a hug and say, come on, let's grow up here and let's become part of the community. And then we are tied with several drug addiction organizations that don't look down on people, but hug them and help them and get them going in the right direction. either the VA or private organizations.
Appreciate it.
If I could, throw out there, one of the things that Paul also runs into is they're so busy running around. A lot of times when they don't know where to send people, they reach out to people like me or the MVPN coordinator up in Collin County or places like that. You guys are all interconnected with your organizations, and a lot of your organizations do specific things for veterans, such as Chris. I know, I know your Edward Jones does a hiring initiative for veterans, and they do different cohorts to bring veterans into the financial, services industry, and all these other different things that you guys do. Please let Paul and his people know. Send them your flyers. I know that there's some places out there that do suit drives specifically for veterans, and they don't know who to give them away to. I was talking to a State Farm agent who had 100 suits that couldn't give them away to people, and I was like, let me introduce you to the right people. You guys are also know people that are constantly looking for people or for organizations to be a part of or to help veterans. I'm constantly sending people over to 3 main places, and one of them is the Veteran Center of North Texas. There are specific donors who have been helping them out throughout the year, that have helped quite a bit, that I didn't think were going to do anything, because you get that all the time, and then all of a sudden they reach out and say thank you for getting me in touch with Paul. So you guys please do that, and it helps out just a lot. It keeps them from having to worry about that, and it also gives them information on how they can help the next vet coming through.
Domingo, thank you. I appreciate your comments and compliments. Just as a side note, coincidentally, we received 50 suits yesterday. We take clothing all the time. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. What an amazing presentation today, and what you do for our veterans. Thank you, Paul, for everything that you do.
Thank you.